Hello folks, it's the Pacer Chaser again. Welcome to another one of my videos. This is another one in the bus garages of Grimsby and Cleethorpes series. I'm going to look at the Stagecoach East Midlands garage on Victoria Street in Grimsby. I wasn't going to do this one because I've already done it. I did a series called Tramming It some time ago. I walked down the old tram and trolleybus routes in Grimsby and Cleethorpes. And in part 4 of that series I walked past this garage and I gave a brief history of it, but for those who didn't see that series I'll do it again. If you do want to watch the series then check it out on my channel. There's quite a few of them. But yeah, anyway, so this was the Grimsby Corporation garage, as you can see by the lettering up on the top of the wall there. Grimsby Corporation tramways. It originally housed trams. They replaced the trams with trolleybuses, and then alongside the trams and trolleybuses they began to run motor buses. In 1957 they combined the council transport departments of Grimsby and Cleethorpes. It made sense just to have one between them. The town centres were about 3 miles apart. The built-up area is continuous between the two towns. So they set up a joint transport department overseen by a committee that had members from both councils, and it was called Grimsby Cleethorpes Transport. Deregulation in 1986, that was set up as an arm's length company. In other words, it was run like a private company to try and make a profit, but all the shares were still held by the two councils. And then in 1993 the GCT company, as it was known, was sold to Stagecoach, who still run it today. So before 1925 Grimsby Corporation didn't have any input into local transport. The trams in Grimsby and Cleethorpes were run by the Great Grimsby Street Tramways Company, who were an offshoot of provincial tramways. There were 3 routes. There was a route from Ryby Square along Hainton Avenue, there was a route from Grimsby Town Centre along Bargate to the People's Park, and there was a route from Grimsby Town Centre to Cleethorpes. Grimsby Corporation started to negotiate in the 1920s to buy the tramways in their area, in other words in Grimsby. So the whole of the Hainton Avenue route, the whole of the People's Park route, and the Cleethorpes route between Grimsby Town Centre and Park Street. As is often the case for these kind of things, nothing happened for a while, then suddenly in 1925, bang, the sale went through. It did cause them a bit of a problem because Great Grimsby Street Tramways, provincial tramways, they retained the ownership of the section within Cleethorpes, so from Park Street up to Cleethorpes itself, and the depot for the whole system was in Cleethorpes. It was at Pelham Road, so provincial retained ownership of the depot. Grimsby Corporation needed a depot ASAP. Now luckily in the First World War there'd been a seaplane base along the River Humber at Killingholme. When the war ended in 1918 it was mothballed, so it was kept intact. It wasn't in use, but it was kept in a condition where it could be brought back into use quickly if needs be. After a few years they thought that peace might actually last, so they decided to start dismantling the seaplane base. They decided they didn't need it anymore. And they started selling off the equipment, and among the things they sold were 2 of the aircraft hangars which Grimsby Corporation bought. They erected them here on this site side by side, and that formed the basis of the tram depot. Now they didn't want people to know that they'd basically built a cheapskate tram depot. I mean, it was done mainly because they needed to do it quickly rather than to save money. But to try and hide what they'd done, they built this facade in front of it, this wall that we're looking at now, and that's across the 2 of the aircraft hangars to try and disguise their origin. So that's the original 1925 part of the depot. There were 2 entrances. The one we're looking at now, which is still there, that was for trams going to or from Grimsby Town Centre. So the tram line would curve out of there and the trams would head off that way. There was another doorway there where the little fire exit is and the windows, and that was for trams heading to or from the direction of Cleethorpes, so they would go out that way. That one long since bricked up. I believe there's an office behind there now. I'll just cross the road. I'm filming this in December 2023, in fact it's Christmas Day. It's about 9 o'clock on Christmas morning, which is why it's easier to cross Victoria Street than it usually is. And if we go across to the doorway for the Grimsby bound trams, you can see there are still tram rails in the ground there. When the doors open, you can see it's the remains of some point work there. You can see the tracks fanning out in the floor still. Behind there nowadays is the workshop area where they do the maintenance and repairs. I've just come round now to the corner of the building, and you can see behind the facade wall there, you can see the actual construction of the depot. It couldn't look any more like an aircraft hangar if they'd left the aircraft inside it. You can see the wall is just basically built in front of it all. So yeah, there's two of those aircraft hangars side by side, and that's the basis of the original tram depot. So the trams were replaced by trolleybuses in the 1930s. As I mentioned earlier on, alongside both the trams and the trolleybuses, Grimsby Corporation started to operate motor buses, in other words, just buses as we know them now. So it needed to expand the depot, and it expanded along sort of side itself. The bits along there are later, as you can see. As I mentioned, in 1957, the transport departments of Grimsby and Cleethorpes corporations were combined and amalgamated to form Grimsby Cleethorpes Transport. It took a few years to negotiate. Cleethorpes Corporation weren't keen at first. When it took effect on the 1st of January 1957, the garage at Cleethorpes closed. Pelham Road Cleethorpes was closed down, and all the vehicles, which were trolleybuses and motor buses, were moved to here, Victoria Street in Grimsby. Cleethorpes Corporation had bought the tramways in its area from Provincial Tramways in 1936. A year later they replaced them with trolleybuses, and they also bought some bus services from Provincial, so they operated trolleybuses and buses. And as I say, 1st of January 1957, their garage in Pelham Road Cleethorpes was closed and everything was moved down here. It wasn't initially big enough for the whole fleet. There was some wasteland on the road opposite, just there where the police station now is. The police station was built in the late 50s. As I said before, it was there was some waste ground, and they used to park buses on there. It's like an overspill bus park. So the bit we're looking at now is the latest part of the depot. I think that was built around the time that they moved everything from Cleethorpes. It was originally all roofed in. This open yard wasn't here. Unfortunately, in 2002, arsonists started a fire in the premises, which destroyed 17 buses, and it also destroyed the roof of the middle bit, so they demolished it and just left it open. So I'll just cross over. We'll have a bit of a look at the later part of the depot building. Look at it, it's Christmas Day. You couldn't stand in the middle of Victoria Street like this on a normal day. See the side of the office block there. And just to finish off, I'll just show you some of the buses parked up. No services today or tomorrow. There you go, it's an Enviro 200 MMCs and a MAN Enviro 300 training bus. So as always, thank you for joining me. Do check out the other titles in this series. I've done various other depots around Grimsby and Cleethorpes. I also did Sherwood Travel in Immingham. There's also a series called The Ghosts of Lincolnshire Road Car, which currently consists of 2 videos, and that looks at the old Lincolnshire Road Car garages around the place as well as ones that are still in use. I've done various depots that are now disused, or the sites of them, including the Cleethorpes Corporation one at Pelham Road, so please check that one out if you're interested. But as always, thank you for joining me and Alfie the Border Collie. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.